Dr. Steelhammer, Vladimir Klitschko, and Dr. Iron Fist, Vitaly Klitschko, Shannon the Cannon Briggs, and Butterbean, Cruiserweight King Jai Opetaia.
Let's talk about the big fight this weekend. It's finally happening. Hopefully there's no issues. Chris Eubank Jr, CONOR BENN. We've seen all the build-up. We spoke about it in the last episode about comments from Eubank Sr. So I know in the past you've kind of joked about who you want to win, who you think is going to win, but the time's now done. People want your prediction, and I want you to put into context also, because I spoke to a lot of people in the last few days. They were comparing it to similar fights in the past with weight disparities. Canelo, Khan, Brook, Triple G. There was another one I can't remember, but basically I don't know if them fights mean anything in this scenario with regards to the weights.
Not really, because you know Golovkin. I said to Kell that Golovkin is kind of the or Kell is the kind of, in my opinion, the Kell was like the kind of the Golovkin of his division, in my opinion. You know, people say, oh, a load of rubbish. Golovkin was a very good fighter. He didn't have one-shot concussive power. He didn't. He wasn't one of those fighters like a Gerald McClellan, you know, fighter. He wore people down and then he knocked them out. So, you know, and Kell's the same. He wasn't a one-punch knockout merchant. And the levels that Golovkin were in Kell was much higher level than CONOR BENN and Eubank Jr, much higher level. So, you know, you're comparing something totally different. CONOR BENN, I don't particularly rate him. You know, he's a small guy. He's muscled up a little bit, and he talks a lot, and he comes across as gangster, and I don't think he is really gangster. Eubank Jr is like a bit more calm, a bit better boxer, and you know they're talking about him. You know, Chris Senior's worried about him. You know, being dehydrated and it's dangerous and everything else. He'll rehydrate properly, and he'll be too big, he'll be too clever for CONOR BENN, and he'll outbox him. Unless he's seriously deteriorated. He's had more fights than CONOR BENN, he's boxed at a better level, and he's got more experience. He's a better boxer. He's not my cup of tea. I actually probably like CONOR BENN better, but just being realistic, I don't think CONOR BENN's got a chance unless Eubank stands in front of him and tries to have a punch-up, which would be silly to do, because that's the only chance that CONOR BENN's got. He's not a better boxer than Eubank. So, you know, you look how Chris Eubank Jr came back from the Liam Smith loss, and he obviously knew he'd done something wrong in the preparation for that first fight and got it wrong, because he got beat and he got stopped. Quite, not bad, but he's uncharacteristic for him. And then he took the fight straight away, boxed him again, and completely schooled Liam Smith. And Liam Smith's a good fighter. So, you know, I can't see him getting beat by CONOR BENN, because CONOR BENN won't beat Liam Smith. You understand? So my thinking is that Chris Eubank Jr is just going to outbox him. And it could possibly stop him later on.
So that's your official prediction?
Yeah.
Chris Eubank Jr stops CONOR BENN?
Late on, possibly.
Okay. Do you give CONOR any chance of, because CONOR's like pre-fight talks all been that I'm going to stop Eubank in 3 rounds, 4 rounds. Can you see that happening?
No.
Why?
I just can't see him, because I don't think, you know, unless Eubank gets the weight wrong, and I don't think he will, because he got it wrong badly against Liam Smith, whatever he did. So he'll have learnt from that. So I just don't think CONOR BENN is a good enough fighter. And the only way he stops him, if Eubank thinks I'm going to go out and stand toe-to-toe with him, and he can land some shots. So I don't think, you know, CONOR BENN is a good enough fighter to stop Chris Eubank Jr.
Do you think the dad will be there, Senior?
CONOR BENN?
No, Nigel's going to be. Do you think Chris Eubank Senior will turn up?
Who knows, because I think a lot of the stuff, it does look, you know, whether he's doing it for clickbait or whatever, he does look like he's losing plot a little bit. You know what I mean? He's a few years older than me, and he was in a lot of hard fights. He took a lot of shots. He was known for having a solid chin. So you're getting to that age now, coming towards 60, where all that damage is sustained in boxing is going to start coming into play. So some of the stuff he does is odd behaviour. Do you know what I mean? So whether he's now, you know, reaping the rewards of getting banged around the head too often in his career, I don't know, but it does look like there's some kind of deterioration going on there.
And then the last thing on that fight, Kell Brook's done some interviews over the weekend, and I don't know if he's just flirting or what, but would you entertain him to fight the winner?
You'd have to look, wouldn't you? You'd have to see how the fight pans out. You know, it goes on. Kell's been in the gym a few times, and you know, to be honest, there's times when he comes in, he looks like he's never boxed in his life, but he's still got that power. And Kelly's, you know, remarkable in the sense, I think in all the fighters I've ever trained, you know, and I've had some good fit fighters, Kid Galahad, Johnny Nelson, Errol Graham, fit people. His resilience to injury, eye sockets, getting his leg chopped, like training through, you know, being ill and being on, you know, antibiotics, having chest infection. He's just a tough, resilient body. And I think if he puts his mind to it, he could train himself back into shape. It'd take a long time. He won't be able to do it in 3 or 4 months. But it's got to be something what motivates him to do it. And he might look at Eubank and Conor Benn and think, yeah, I can beat them. Because the thing is with Kell Brook, he's been in here over the last few weeks sparring with people, and he's not particularly fit, but he still can whack. And kids are coming out, oh, he's done me ribs. He's still punching hard. He's like an hammer, and he does punch hard. I've been hit by Kell Brook. He's done my ribs loads of times. He can punch. He all clipped me on the chin last time I sparred with him. And I said, I'm stopping there, because if you hit me again like that, you're going to knock my teeth out, you're going to knock me out. So we're not doing it. You're only body sparring, but he kept skimming me. And he only half skimmed me on the chin and buzzed me. And I just thought, if that hits me, I'm going to be laid on my back in that ring. And he weren't even fit. But he's got his hands are so heavy. You just won't want to take it. So, you know, if it motivates him enough, he looks at that fight and he thinks to himself, I could beat them. Well, yeah, maybe he will do it, because there'll be good money for him, and he probably thinks, well, yeah, I'll be able to do it.
Good stuff. Let's see what happens. I'm going to get you to do some quick predictions. I'm guessing some of these you might not know, but let's see. On the undercard of Eubank, Ben, there's some decent fights on. Top of the card, you've got Anthony Yard, Lyndon Arthur in a trilogy. They're both one apiece. Lyndon won the first one in a close points decision, and Anthony Yard stopped him quite early in the second one. What happens third time?
Difficult to say. Who did Anthony Yard box last?
He's been in with Beterbiev. He's been in with who else? I'm trying to think now. But he's been with some.
I like Anthony Yard, and I think you know, when he's been against these kids, Beterbiev is tough. I mean, obviously Arthur went in with Bivol and got through the rounds. So I'm going to just side with Anthony Yard.
Points.
I think.
Okay. And then Liam Smith versus Aaron McKenna, the other McKenna brother. I think the other one lost recently.
I think Liam Smith. I'm always going to go with Liam Smith because he's a good boxer. Whether he's still got the stomach for it, I don't know. But Liam Smith, you know, like I keep saying, he's a quality fighter. I've had Kell Brook sparring him. He comes from that family. You can never write off the Smiths. Do you know what I mean? Especially Callum Smith. Look what he did. You know, last fight, a lot of people thought he was ready after the hard fights he's been in, but you know, he put in a tremendous performance against Boatse.
You called it as well. He's probably one of the best predictions he did, because I don't think many people thought Callum would win that fight.
Did I call that one? Did I?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
No, he's a quality. You can never underestimate Callum Smith. He's a very, very good fighter.
Chev Clark, Vidal Riley. I don't know if you know much about these guys.
Vidal Riley, I think probably. I don't know how it's going to be. I just think it's going to be a win.
For who?
Sorry?
Who do you think is going to win?
Did you just say?
Vidal Riley?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going for Vidal Riley in that one. Okay, and then the last one, obviously you know Chris Billum Smith, but he's fighting an American called Brandon Glanton. I don't know if you've ever heard of Brandon Glanton.
I hadn't heard of him, but...
decent puncher, he's managed by the Eubanks.
It's going to be difficult after Chris's last performance, so let's, you know... it could go either way, that one. I'm not gonna put my neck. I ain't really heard much of that other fella, but I just think that Chris is a tough fighter, but the way he fights, he's gonna start slowing down at some point, and maybe that was the last fight where it's starting to happen, and maybe this is the fight where could get done in if the other kids can punch, you know, if he can punch as his record suggests. So, you know, the jury's out on that one, but it could go either way, possibly. I don't know.
Right, let's see what happens. But yeah, it should be a good weekend of boxing. You're going to be watching it on Saturday?
Possibly, if I can, find an illegal stream.
Yeah, see,
I won't be watching a legal stream, but I'll probably will watch it. It's not something what really whets my appetite, to be honest, the Eubank and the CONOR BENN. I know a lot of people are excited about it. A lot of people are messaging me and excited about it. But like I say, I come from the era where I've seen a big fight. For me, that doesn't qualify as it might be a big fight for 2025, and our boxing's been, but in the boxing I've seen over the past, in the past, like the dads boxing each other and those big fights, I only just stayed up for them or watched them or tuned into them. I'll probably watch the fight maybe the day after.
Who did the fans cheer more back in the day when it was Eubank BENN? Who did the fans side with?
BENN.
BENN, okay.
Because Eubank was, the
showman.
He was the fighter everybody loved to hate, and he'd go around and posture around the ring, and but yeah, I think back in those days, I think BENN was the one that everybody cheered for, because he loved Nigel Benn. He was a no-nonsense fighter, came in and ripped into everybody, and I think a lot of people responded to Eubank in the same way that they did with Whittaker, type of thing. And even with Naz, when Naz used to do it, when he started off, people used to boo Naz for doing it. And then when they realised that he was the real deal, Naz, everybody got behind him, because it was almost wherever you went with Naz, you were going to win. So it was a great fighter to get behind if you were British.
Who gets cheered and who gets booed on Saturday, do you think?
I think, I don't know.
I did a few polls and it's
50-50, and I think most people, I think possibly a lot of people are going to be behind BENN. I might be wrong.
I did a few polls and it appears that people are kind of siding with Chris, only by like 10% or something.
Maybe because Conor's...
I think it was due to these performances in the press conferences.
Yeah, possibly. But listen, it don't really matter who the crowd's behind, does it? It's who does the business on the night.
Indeed. Dom, thank you, and no doubt we'll be here to talk about the aftermath of that fight, and let's see if you get your prediction bang on. Thank you.
I don't think I did too bad last time when we did the prediction. I almost got everybody right, didn't I?
You did. It wasn't too far
But
off.
maybe I've let my eye off the ball. We'll see. Maybe I'm slipping. Maybe it's all going to be the wrong way around. But we'll see, won't we?
We will. In about 7 days' time, we'll catch up then. Thank you very much.
Introducing the all-new BYD Sea Lion 7, the luxury electric SUV that's changing the game. Book your free test drive today at the BYD showroom in Sheffield.